The president has been to Canada before. Sorry, Tom, I was just going to note the president has been to Canada before as a tourist, visiting relatives in the Niagara Peninsula area. And there's the Governor General and her husband, their excellencies, proceeding out to the plane. Tom, yes, you were going to say?
Well, I'm just going to say that this has been very much an RCMP operation. In past times, the military would have been much more involved, but that airport was decommissioned as a military airport in the 90s. It's now run by Foreign Affairs. But on the ground outside the House of Commons, it has been the RCMP in charge of all security, negotiating with the U.S. Secret Service. Inside the House of Commons, it has been the House of Commons security totally in charge, even restricting the Secret Service to how many agents they could bring in here. There are less than a half a dozen Secret Service agents coming in the building with him.
And we understand that Ottawa International Airport is closed down right now. The airspace around the airport is going to be restricted all day, and the airport itself closed precisely from 10:15 to 10:45 during the time the plane landed. And of course that will happen again this afternoon when he takes off, due to lift off around or at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. So there it is, the president in Canada, waiting for that first glance, waiting for those flash bulbs to pop when he sticks his head out of that door and comes onto Canadian soil as president for the very first time. Yes, he does have relatives in the Burlington area, and many people have tried to get in touch with them and talk to them. He has a sister there. He has a brother-in-law who is working in Ottawa, as a matter of fact. And we have tried from time to time to get in touch with these people, but they keep a very low profile. It's by design. They just don't want to be seen running around and talking about the president because they realize the hazards of that, of course. People running up wanting their opinions on policy between Canada and the United States, and that would certainly be a no-no. There's been a lot of advance publicity in the press in the United States about this trip, not very much on electronic media, but certainly in the press. And Fareed Zakaria, who hosts a prominent show on the news cable network CNN, wrote a piece about the World Economic Forum ranking Canada's banking system as the healthiest in the world, ranking the United States as the 40th and Britain's as the 44th, and he referred to the genius of Canadians. And you know what he says our genius is, Craig and Tom? He says our genius is good old common sense. We decided that we weren't going to allow our banks to
you might also say that we are a nation who've learned civility and compromise. That's what's kept us together, really, the ability to compromise our differences, starting from the very beginning.
And I think, too, in that article, he pointed it out, you know, there was a contest for the world's most boring headline, and the winner was Worthwhile Initiative in Canada.
Yes.
But, I mean, as was pointed out in that article, and by others, I might say, you know, he said...
Here's the shot we've been waiting for. The President of the United States, on his own, descending the steps, ready to be greeted by the front at the bottom of the stairs there, the Governor General. Yes, that's the head of protocol. The American, talking to him first of all, John Brennan, the Assistant of Homeland Security. He's on the plane. Carol Browner, Energy and Climate Coordinator in the White House. And he's having his first words with our Governor General. And these are two gregarious people. They smile easily, they reach out, they touch, and obviously they have a lot in common, as Bob Fife mentioned a moment ago. That's Michael Wilson in the foreground there, the current Canadian ambassador to Washington. They would be known to each other. Down the line, being introduced by the Governor General to these various officials, most of whom he would have met before. Now, I don't know whether we'll actually see some of these other people accompanying the president, because he seems to be operating solely on his own at the moment, but with him on the plane is General Jim Jones, who is his national security advisor. He was the Supreme Commander in Europe. That was his last post after a 40-year career that took him to Vietnam and elsewhere. So now, the president, accompanied by the Governor General, heading into the Billy Bishop Lounge, where they will have a little tete-a-tete for some period of time, about 20 minutes, half an hour, as a matter of fact. And this is the moment that Canadians have been waiting for so long, to see him on Canadian soil. This man who has this rock star-like popularity all over the world right now. And the weight on his shoulders, and yet he carries it, it seems, so easily.
So, Tom, there's an interesting part of this picture. Take a look at this. The U.S. president, who is not, well, African-American in the true sense of the word, and the Governor General, who is from Haiti. It shows the changing face of this continent. I think it's quite